to the Grey Pill Podcast, where truth's unveiled, exploring the depths beyond what is retail. Conspiracies, esoteric knowledge so enthralling. Open up your mind, let's dive into the sprawling. Oh yeah. Grey Pill awaken, question what you know. Peeling back the layers, let your curiosity grow. Uncover hidden realities, break the mold. Come take the journey, let your mind unfold.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Greypill Podcast. I guess this would be episode 11.
Double digits, baby.
I'm finally hosting. I'm finally hosting another live with two guys who I hold in high regard. I'm here with my buddy Doenut. What's going on, player?
What up? Thank you for having me on.
And my buddy Thomas, the paranoid motherfucking American.
Whoa, watching my mom's watching, man. Come on.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Tell me to watch my motherfucking mouth. Happy. Well, I don't want to say happy Memorial Day because this is a day where we grieve the loss of all those that have died for the means of elite banking families snug in their beds and their castles and estates. And so we salute all of you, and we hope if you are a veteran and you aren't left stranded, even those left stranded by the government out to be homeless, I hope y'all all had a nice day of rest, and you and your families had a blessed day. So
I gotta say, I'm a veteran, and I feel like the government's completely abandoned me. I'm not homeless, but it has nothing to do with the government. It's in fact, it's in spite of the government that I'm not homeless.
Well, thank you, Thomas, for your service.
You're welcome, man. I killed like 50 people just for you. You personally. I put your name on the bullets.
Well, thank you for that as well.
Thank you, Thomas, for your service.
Thank you, Thomas. But yeah, man, thank all of y'all who are serving or who have served in the corrupt military-industrial complex.
How come you guys didn't serve?
I have flat feet.
I was probably busy.
Or that was just like you knew going in that it would have been a waste of time.
Well, no, that's not why I didn't serve. I've never been into order following in a sense. So I wouldn't even be able to. I was so addicted to substance abuse that, I would not be a good candidate. I wouldn't even be accepted. You know what I mean? Plus, I'm into more studying war. There's a spiritual aspect to war as well. You know what I mean?
What's going on, Jessica?
I like to study the great battles of history as well and power dynamics. So if I was going to be in a position of, I wouldn't do well probably on the ground as a Marine or anything like that. But I think I would be good at like the strategic parts of it. And that's always what kind of fascinated me in history is the strategic elements.
Yes, it doesn't like an officer. You'd be like the officer coming in. You should be like, give me my full bird.
Yeah, because I like hip hop so much. And this kind of goes into hip hop because hip hop's all about battling as well.
Right.
So you got two artists and they go in battle, right? There's a rap battle and all gloves are off. Usually they're friends though, like this Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef that is happening right now. I mean, first off, Kendrick Lamar and Drake both got famous through the same poetic justice song in a sense, right? Not Drake, but Kendrick was, right? But they were working together. And 50 Cent has exposed this, how 50 Cent and Kanye, I believe, they fabricated a fake beef or others. But then there's realistic beefs as well. And I do think that the Game and the 50 Cent rap battle was actually genuine. I do think that was an actual beef. And the way 50 Cent attacked the game, I thought was very strategic. And I was reading his book with the help of Robert Greene, The 50th Law of Power. Everybody knows the 48 laws of power, but the 50th law of power was quite interesting. And he didn't bring up the game one time. And I thought this was interesting because the game's Black Wall Street, when he went and attacked G-Unit when they first came out, because they did that song, Love It or Hate It, The Underdog's on Top. I'm going to start until my heart thought, you know, I'm perhaps MVP. The game with his Black Wall Street dissed 50 and was like, you ain't a gangster, you ain't all these things. And in my young mind, I was like, oh man, the game's going to win because of this aggressive attack. Wow, he's very masculine. He has this aggressive attack. And what did 50 Cent do? He rose the power through not attacking his enemy, but by just ignoring him, one, but also rising the power through the movie industry, through the book industry. He wrote a book on power with the #1 power guy. So his success is way surpasses the game. So these power dynamics in hip hop are very similar to warfare.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't go because I was too busy going to jail and just being a fucking hooligan.
You got visible tattoos under the elbows?
What do you mean?
Well, that's another disqualifier. If you got tattoos on your forearms, essentially on your calves.
No, I have them. I have my left leg tattooed, and my
that would be disqualified for military right there.
Well, at the time when I was 18, I got in trouble a couple times. Man, it was actually pretty bad. I was on probation for about 5 years, and I had my son during that, and so it just wasn't happening. You know, the military, because I kind of kept getting in trouble. I was stuck in that cycle, and you could attribute rap music to that as well. Honestly, especially that there were.
If you had to blame one rapper, whose fault is it?
Oh man, I probably would used to want to blame a bunch of rappers, probably especially a bunch of Memphis rappers. But you can't really blame them because a lot of them are dead themselves. Probably more than even Chicago, man. I mean, there's so many Memphis rappers that had like one album and then they were killed in the streets, or, you know, they OD'd or they killed themselves. I mean, you hear some crazy shit and some of this old school stuff that's not put out to the mainstream at all. So no one really hears it unless you like dig for it. But yeah, dude, no, I just never, I had friends that were in the military, you know, that were stationed in Germany and stationed in a whole bunch of places, but just wasn't for me, man. You know?
Well, the social engineering part of it is interesting because you can see that social engineering worked on a level of the hippie movement or the blues movement or the hip hop movement. This really moves culture. Not just that, but we can even go back to paintings of the royal families. And the royal family paintings that get revealed, like this most recent King Charles III, his painting being revealed. This is MK Ultra mind control through the arts.
You did a video on that painting, right?
I did do a video on that painting. I just got to speak with Mr. Tunney, and he covers a lot of these topics. And he was showing the Queen Elizabeth painting was really to mind control people in a sense away from who was in power before. So these art pieces are used for mind control. For example, the CIA's involvement with modern art in Pollock, Jackson Pollock's terrible art, right? That everyone it was pushed on everybody, and everyone's promoting this garbage art. And if you're inspired by certain types of art, like through a Renaissance movement of buildings and structures, to today, this modern era of just terrible benches, terrible, everything just looks like Edward Scissorhands, right? In that community, this messes with the psyche. It messes with the soul. So I always like to have art all over the place to be inspired at all times. So everywhere I look in my house, I am inspired no matter which direction I look, because my house is full of art. Art is so powerful. Yeah. And I'm not against the art that is hardcore in a sense, or horrorcore. I grew up on this. I like the aggressive stuff. I like like, for example, Puff Daddy. He is a wholesome, the branding, a wholesome guy who dresses nice, right? But he's out there doing some Epstein,
some dance hit, some pop rap hit, you know what I mean? Like the lightest of gangster rap that you could possibly go to. Like almost gay rap, you know?
Well, the imagery.
I never trusted anyone that was all in on Puff Daddy. So
yeah, man, never really been a fan. And I've always thought he killed Biggie. I think Tupac and Biggie were both killed in their cars. I don't think that there were second cars there. I think they were shot in their vehicles. That's just my opinion.
It still blows my mind. He had a remix at the end of a KRS-One album. I think it was I Got Next. But like he actually had like an official KRS-One remix. And I only know that because I remember I lent it to my friend once and I was like, so what was your favorite song on that KRS-One album? And he was like, oh, this Puff Daddy remix. I was like, what the hell is that thing even doing on there?
Yeah, dude.
We can see these battles though, whether that's warfare or the battles in the art world. So happy Memorial Day in a sense. I know it's not happy, but thank you to all the veterans out there. And I am very interested in the occult connections to hip hop, especially in Memphis. You brought up Memphis.
Yeah, dude.
3-6 Mafia, all that. So I was very inspired by as a teenager because it was aggressive and they were talking about elements that me and my friends were involved in a sense of the drugs and whatnot. So I was like, or you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh wow, they're talking about like Lil White, for example. Wonderful albums that, in my opinion, because I love lyrics.
Are you talking about his first one?
Finally, Famous was
Doubt
good.
Me Now.
Doubt Me Now.
Doubt Me Now. Yeah.
And he was very young. Man. This guy was like 21. And then he made an album with Jelly Roll right after that. So 3-6 Mafia, Lil White brought Jelly Roll on the mainstream in a sense. And there's this connection in this filtering through the 3-6 Mafia, which I believe is not them being connected to these like certain secret societies, but I believe they're in it, of a powerhouse that goes all the way back to the 27 Club of Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson, I believe, has the Memphis connection there. And this was the first person who met the devil and did the Faustian bargain at the crossroads of the X, and then joining the 27 Club right there, Robert Johnson. And he has the Sampaku eyes as well.
He got him in this picture too, probably.
Bro, we actually just talked about
I was about to say,
your dad the other day for like a couple hours.
My dad worked for Malico Records for 12 years as a producer. And that's just crazy that you brought that up. I believe it though.
He has the Sampaku eyes underneath, which is the 3 whites, and Jelly Roll also carries the 3 whites underneath his eyes, and so does Puff Daddy as well. And this means tragedy is coming their way. Now, in normal life, that's not what it means, so don't worry if you have that. It usually just means mental stress at points, or if it's at the top, you're just feeling crazy, because I get both of them if I'm mentally stressed or if I'm feeling crazy, that appears. But I believe this is deep symbolism, and the brainwashing through the drugs is very important. And 3-6 Mafia is the sipping on the scissor, right? They were bringing the hydrocodone to the mainstream and whatnot.
On
And
the
you know what?
hands-free phone.
On the hands-free phone, yeah.
Yeah, man.
With Pimp C, and Pimp C,
Chad Butler, man. Yeah.
Pimp C,
R.I.P. Sorry, Doenut.
no, he died at 33, right? This is an age that a lot of people pass away at, is at this 33 age. And the last person to see him, and shout out to Call Me Kinfolk because he pointed this out, was the last person to see Pimp C before he died was DJ Paul, I believe. So right there's this 3-6 Mafia connection. Yeah, and the Gangsta Boo, and I've been connecting this to the 36 ley line, right? The 3-6 Mafia and the ley line, these meridian lines that are on the earth and in our body, thinking about music and the Rockefellers changing the frequencies to the sound waves that we put in our headphones or the Bose speakers or whatever. That is changing our frequencies because we're in a container, like I know I'm jumping all over the place, but
you're good, dude. You're on Grey Pill, bro. So talk about whatever you want to, Doenut.
So you put the symbol in a container, and then you hit the frequency and it charges that symbol. So it gets sort of like woo-woo-y or whatever. But think about all the concerts and the raves. You showed that thing about the blues singer. Blues is how they introduced heroin into the communities. And also the same thing's happening with the purple scissor. That's just synthetic heroin.
It's liquid heroin. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And I mean, we could tie this back further of the opium wars and whatnot, you know? So, I mean, we could even go even deeper on that. But 3-6 Mafia is 3-6 in the 36 ley line, this dragon line that the Knights Templars were very fond of these certain meridians on Earth that charge up these certain frequencies. For example, the Great Pyramid, it's on a certain ley line. Like these are energetic vortexes and stuff like that, or something. I don't know. Maybe it's more magnetic. I'm not 100% sure. But I do know if you go to certain places with like some magnet, it'll go all kooky.
A certain amount of frequency playing. Yeah. Or if you go with the machine, you can maybe perhaps even open a portal, you know, depending on where you are. I've heard a lot of theories about that. I know Thomas knows a lot about that.
We should go there with the Rife machine, bro. I bet you could do some wild
I bet you
stuff with that, man.
Matt would definitely want to go too, dude. He would definitely want to go.
I want to say, Doenut, the same way that rap music kind of takes that burden of, like, let's say like Freeway Ricky Ross, right? So you've got like crack inside of rap, but you've also got like the lean and like you said, the blues. But I think part of that is because there's an invested interest to throw some of that shade off of the real source where it's coming from, which is typically the government and mafia. But now it's just the government because the government kind of swallows the mafia. So like if you imagine, it's like they can, like, who's making the scissor, right? Who's making the promethazine? It's definitely not rappers. They're not making it. It's coming from somewhere. It's coming from the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry is essentially the revolving door between government and industry, but that's also where you find all those like real OG gangsters at. But the point being that if they see an opportunity, just like the CIA drops crack into LA, and it's
or
like
into Alabama,
you guys made that. It's you started that, and it's like
Arkansas.
not necessarily right. It kind of came from the Contras, but the same way that crack was introduced into the ghetto in LA in the 80s is the same way that like lean gets blamed on certain types of rap, or that like selling drugs gets blamed on certain types of rap. All these drugs would exist with or without rap. The pharmaceuticals would exist without it. The illicit use of it would still exist. It would just be prescribed by a doctor instead of someone that's, you know, like a street doctor.
Yeah, man. And I think lean was brought up through Texas through like Screwed Up Records. DJ Screw, like you were talking about. You were talking about Pimp C. You know, him and Screw were both from Texas, and they both died. A lot. See, it's crazy, man. In these southern towns where a ton of these underground, you could say underground, especially like in their time when they first came out, the they end up dying. And you really have to look at it and be like, are these rituals that are taking place? Is this why some of these cities are named certain things, such as Memphis?
Yeah.
And why they have a giant pyramid there?
Dead,
I mean,
right?
what's
Memphis?
going on under that pyramid?
So yeah, Memphis, Egypt, and then you got Memphis in America. So there's this connection. And on the US dollar bill, we also have a pyramid on there and whatnot. So there is all these things. And the pyramid, I believe, is the pyramid. I believe it's the volcano, which goes deeper. That's what I learned from Jordan Maxwell. And I liked how a lot of artists have Jordan Maxwell in their songs like Wu-Tang. So I could get into all the different secret society elements of symbolism through all these different rap groups, especially in the 90s. But if you share my screen real quick, just so I could show people the 3-6 Mafia connection. Gangsta Boo passed away in 2023. She was the queen of Memphis. She was part of 3-6 Mafia. She passed away on January 1st while Dolly Parton was performing with Miley Cyrus underneath this royal arch, which at the top is 6'9" for the summer solstice. Now, Gangsta Boo, she has her 6'9" album, but coincidentally, 3-6 Mafia rose to power through the Terrence Howard movie called Hustle and Flow, and he's all in this. But who 3-6 Mafia battled against to win that Grammy or Oscar was Dolly Parton. So right there, you got a Dolly Parton connection there. Coincidentally, Dolly Parton's performing when Gangsta Boo died. So I believe it is a Memphis secret society connection to all this. And this could get tied into a lot of different cults, but I don't know which cult it is. But
let's figure it out, man.
Well, there's the Memphis Mizraim, which had 96 degrees. Some say 99. There's different writings of how many degrees were in it. So I think
that's the modern day like extension of the Bavarian Illuminati. I don't have any like specifics, but I've read enough things that hinted at that, because the whole point of Adam Weishaupt and Von Nuys, right, is that they kept selling these degrees before they existed, and then like once Weishaupt would got Von Nuys to actually write the degrees, he'd go out and sell another 10, and he'd come back and be like, yo, that was great, man, now we need 80 through 90, and he's like, yo, hold on. And I think that's kind of what burnt him out. But that whole concept and everything they put together and all those degrees, I think those got compiled, they got recycled into French Freemasonry, and then from French Freemasonry turns into the Rite of Memphis Mizraim. It's not a straight line, it's like a very meandering line, but it seems like that's the most realistic lineage between it all.
Wasn't Weishaupt going out and selling these degrees to just like men?
Like a door-to-door salesman, although it was like at a higher echelon, so he'd only be trying to sell it to like the top professors in like the country, or the top Freemasons in the lod. But yeah, he was just a huckster, bro. He was going out there and saying like, yo, I got the secret, underground, the original knowledge. No one knows this. Like, we found it, we uncovered it, we just translated the hieroglyphics. And he'd be like hyping all this up. It's it's degrees like 7, 8, and 9, and 20 and 30. And then he would come back and tell Von Nuys about this, and Von Nuys would kind of like split his wig a little bit. He'd be like, are you like, because imagine the salesman comes back and he tells you, all right, I sold 200 widgets. And you're like, we don't even make widgets. And he's like, oh, that's too bad, because I sold 200 of them and they're coming on Monday to pick them up. That was, I mean, I'm like being a little bit, facetious, but that's sort of the dynamic that I understand between Weishaupt and Von Nuys.
So if we tie it back also to the purple lean, right? We're talking about purple lean. Now this connects to Detroit as well with Eminem. So I don't think it's just Memphis. I think it's a whole network, which makes sense because you can see that the Knights Templars are all over the world in places where they shouldn't even be. Their castles are out. And the Eminem connection is quite interesting to me because I'm a big juggalo. Plus, I also like Eminem as well. I had this album in the 4th grade, the Slim Shady LP, and he had a beef talking about warfare with pretty much every single celebrity out there, from Britney Spears to all that. You know, he was going
For
out
sure.
he was beefing with everybody, but the main one was the ICP beef. And this goes into Aleister Crowley's Moonchild. He is B Rabbit. The rabbit is connected to the moon. And on his first LP, the Slim Shady LP, it's just a big moon. And I believe this is symbolism. Now, the Moonchild by Aleister Crowley was about 2 secret societies battling it out. The dark magic and the white magic, or whatever it was. I never read it, but that's the story of the Moonchild. And that egg that we just saw, the Memphis Mizram.
Yeah, let me pull that back up.
That's called a Kniff. Now,
Okay.
You probably remember Ken Kniff from Connecticut. And I believe that this is all etymology and symbolism tied into an esoteric story. We get the exoteric story of Dr. Dre and the Chronic. And the Chronic is Kronos, which goes to Saturn. But this egg and the Vicodin, for example, right here, Eminem's album, this is the same lean. It's the same thing as this or Purple Hills.
Which album was this?
This was his first album under Slim Shady, not Infinite. This was the Slim Shady LP right here. And that was on the CD cover. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can keep going on, but
No,
I wanted to dip into and mention that like 90s hip hop is the whole reason that I think I got into conspiracy theories super early, and it was because the Kill Army album Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and I was trying to find a copy of it somewhere, like look at the lyrics, and I'm searching the internet in the 90s for Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and all the top results are the ones from Behold a Pale Horse. So I think I ended up finding Behold a Pale Horse when I was like 12, just because I was looking for a Kill Army like MP3 album.
well, the term Illuminati gets brought up in all the different.
Well, I had heard it a bunch of times that the LL Cool J remix where Prodigy says Illuminati wants my mind, soul, and my body. There was the Tupac Illuminati.
And then Prodigy choked on it. Prodigy choked on an egg,
right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if it was the
didn't know how he
rapper
died.
Prodigy or the rock star Prodigy.
No, it was the rapper. It was the rapper Prodigy, and it was right after he released an album called Hegelian Dialectic, which was part of a trilogy, because he was starting to just go hard in the paint on specifically conspiracy theories. And like, how many rappers are out there now writing about the Hegelian Dialectic? It's not a very hot topic, so it was remarkable that right after he releases this and announces he's going to start doing this primarily, he chokes on an egg.
I remember when that was released in around 2012. I thought that went hard, but let's not forget that Tupac also talked about the Illuminati, and he called it the Killuminati 7-Day Theory. And he did call out Mobb Deep, but they probably would have been friends by now after that beef.
That was a way better rap beef than the Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I just got to say that.
For sure.
The Hit 'Em Up song is brutal.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Such a brutal. And he's calling out Puff Daddy in that song.
I didn't even
It's
follow
like
this
not
new
again.
beef.
Yeah. So he went after Puff Daddy, Jay-Z, Mob Sleep. I ain't even going to
And
write
your
on y'all. I'm going to let my
whole
homies write on y'all.
If you're down with Bad Boy, then you too.
Yeah, that was a great song. But also Ready to Die, Biggie's album was very amazing as well.
Oh yeah, so, give me the loot.
Yeah, give me the loot.
That's some good shit, man. Yeah, man. I used to ride around and do ungodly things listening to that in my '94 Honda.
Yeah, that was a great album. It was like a movie being played. Now, I could tie in everything now into Donald Trump, if you'd like.
Fuck yeah, man.
I mean, he was the original like hip hop rich
hear
white
this.
dude, right? Everyone used to love him before he became pres.
Soon to be paid by
single
Donald Trump.
rapper was like, you want Black Trump?
So if you share the screen again, I was showing everybody when he released the Trump shoes.
There we
it
go.
was an alchemical process for, you know, it was to get the black vote. And that was it was very like iffy or whatever.
It probably worked.
Well, now Snoop Dogg has changed his mind and his opinion and is endorsing Donald Trump now. So there's alchemical stuff happening. And Tim Pool was just interviewing him, I guess, today. I'm not sure. I'd have to rewatch all that. But there's a lot more going on than what is on the surface. For example, the Terrence Howard, it just sounds a lot like Terrence McKenna. And if you know who Terrence McKenna is, he pushed the whole drug culture and even the mimetic magic he was talking about with memes way back in the day. Connections to Timothy Leary, and these are the counterculture social engineers resetting the autonomic nervous system connected to the Illuminati Dolphins and John C. Lilly's work and whatnot. But you got Terrence Howard, straight connected to 3-6 Mafia, right? Out on the stage right now. So I do believe there is a huge connection to this secret cult that they're all a part of. And even what he's wearing right here, this is a religious garment that he's wearing. You got rabbis wear it, popes wear it, Knights Templars wear it. The robe, the white robe with the hat. So he's coming off as a spiritual teacher, right?
As a mystic of some sort.
That black and white was also the color palette for his character in Iron Man, which was War Machine, right?
Oh,
yes.
okay.
He was War Machine.
We're looking
in
at
the
War
first
Machine
two,
right now.
I think.
Wow. But so you got him on stage. You got Cat Williams on stage. Cat Williams is a pimp in Hollywood, right? That's his character. Then Terrence Howard is a pimp in this character, Whoop That Trick, right? So you got these two pimps, actors, part of Hollywood, for example. They are actors. That's what they do, is they act. They're playing a role. But
World stage. Yeah.
And then you got Billy Carson, right? Billy Carson is Ancient Aliens pushing the alien narrative, just like when Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard was on what's behind them is a UFO ship. So this is all nudging connected to the Terrence McKennas and the H.G. Wells and the open conspiracy and this psychological trick of nudging people into doing something. And what that doing something is to take psilocybin mushrooms right now. So they are nudging people to be on a micro dose so they can reset the autonomic nervous system, as all these new age teachers will be teaching you, oh, don't worry about the walking on water. And they're bringing up religious stuff because they're resetting the Abrahamic religions into a new religion, not probably for everyone, but for anyone who's on their phone and consuming this information. I mean, it goes deep. I mean, in this truther field, think about how many times people are pushing drugs on us, right? They're pushing that on us. And then you go into the mainstream world. People like, what's his name? Childish Gambino pushing psilocybin onto people. And then the next song's Ariana Grande. I mean, we get this nudge effect happening. So it's everywhere. You cannot deny that that's not being pushed. In these big upper echelon parties, they don't do the yay anymore. They're all microdosing. That's the new thing. And there's a reason for this. I'm not saying that I know people get really mad if I talk bad about their drugs. You know what I mean? But if there is something that you can
teach his own.
Yeah, if that can help you out or whatever, I'm saying that you got a military industrial complex funded by all these big corporations pushing in agenda, and it seems like everyone's working together for this. And I don't think that's for good. I think that is for something nefarious.
Well, I got a slight theory on it, because I mean I've been like deep into the MK Ultra program specifically, and all the different people that were actually responsible for bringing the original psychedelic revolution, going back to Aldous Huxley, Gordon P. Wasson, or Robert Gordon Wasson. That was the guy that actually went and found magic mushrooms, brought them to the U.S., introduced him to a guy named Henry Luce, who was the head of Time Life magazine. He was also Skull and Bones. He was also a Century Club member, along with a whole bunch of that's the original Life magazine cover, where they introduced magic mushrooms and the term for magic mushrooms. But I think that the whole spin is that there's a reason why it came through a magazine with advertisements, and from like the marketing angle is because they needed to pitch this as like a recreational party thing that you go out and you do with people and you have a good time, and you like put on body paint, which legitimately sounds like a good time, but that's not how these cultures were using these drugs. Like the actual area of like Oaxaca, Mexico, where Robert Gordon Wasson brought these from, along with like salvia, like they weren't like painting bodies. They actually hid this behind shamans. In fact, a lot of these were so well hidden that even when the conquistadors came and decimated entire villages and all communities and like just wiped out culture, somehow some of these ethnogenic drugs still existed, and they continue to exist up until the mid 1900s, and that's when the CIA got their little hands in this. That was basically Robert Gordon Wasson was like the exploratory arm of the CIA.
And a banker. So he's a banker for JP Morgan.
Banker, vice president of JP Morgan, close personal friend of JP Morgan Jr. And JP Morgan Jr. in his own office, he had like a personal collection of mushroom statues and stones. Like it goes way deeper than just a guy in the 50s found mushrooms and introduced it. Like it goes so deep.
Yeah.
I think it was like they knew how important it was, and they said, we got to spin this. We got to make it look like something that can't be used for like personal anything. Like it can't be used introspectively. It needs to be used like extrospectively.
Right. And do they have the best interest? Do they want us to have spiritual experiences? Does the people who sank the Titanic and set up the federal, do they want us to have spiritual experiences?
Dude, if you have a spiritual experience, how much are you going out and like going on a spending and a shopping spree? You don't. Like it's like the spiritual is the opposite of the material. So if you have a truly spiritual experience or awakening, the last thing on your mind is more material goods, but that kind of breaks down society. So anyways, that's my conspiracy theory on it.
Oh, man. So when I was talking to you, Doenut, you had brought up the death of the Queen of Memphis. Did you know back like in the early days, she was known as the Devil's Daughter? Yeah. And so when you look at it from all the way back when DJ Paul and Lord Infamous were doing solo tapes, their first one being, well, they would just get I think like their first 9 tapes were just other rappers, and they would mix them or slow them or do whatever they did with their turntables. They would, make them their own style. They would put some scary piano sound behind it and turn it into a horrorcore beat, like what you were talking about. But their first album was called The Serial Killers, I think. And then they had Come With Me to Hell Part 1 and Come With Me to Hell Part 2. And dude, when I first heard this, I was in like the 9th grade. I had downloaded it off of a certain site, and I was listening to this like after school, walking my dog. Man, I mean, it's real dark shit. But do you think that maybe they have had these contracts, soul contracts, you could say, since all the way back to like 1992? when they like originally first started, because they put out a bunch of underground. And when we do our sound science, guys, we're planning on doing a sound science here in about hopefully a week or so, 2-3 weeks maybe. And we're just going to have our favorite Memphis albums, and we'll dive into them, and we'll kind of go back over this stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, not only did she die, but Lord Infamous and Kupstanika also both they died. I think they died in the same month, not as Gangsta Boo, but them two died in the same month of each other. But that's 3 members of 3-6 Mafia that died within a year or two of each other.
Try to run up on me.
Maybe
OV. Test the D O to the E. It's OV.
I love that song.
Wow. Oh yeah, that song's tight, huh?
Dude, that's some of the darkest shit.
I'm Juicy J, for example, the producer, right?
Right.
He produced Miley Cyrus. So when I'm talking about Gangsta Boo Underneath the Royal Arch with Dolly Parton, who was competing against 3-6 Mafia for the Oscars with Terrence Howard, is performing with Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus was lifted up with Juicy J, or maybe vice versa, because you even got the Migos connection, right? You had that assassination that took place with the Migos, and they got famous with Hannah Montana. That was the song that made them famous. And Hannah Montana is Miley Cyrus, who was going to school on Crowley Corners in the show.
That's something crazy, because at first, when the Migos first came out, there was a lot of people, like back when I was doing some underground rap, there was a lot of people saying that they stole the flow of Lord Infamous and Skinny Pimp. Because Skinny Pimp and 3-6, they had a beef with Bone Thugs back in like 96. They released that Live By Your Rep. And it says Bone Diss underneath it. But when I was a kid, I thought it just meant like bone diss. I don't know, like have sex with this, fuck that, like whatever. I didn't know it was like a Bone Thugs and Harmony diss. And so when you go listen to it, I mean, they cooked them completely. But
like I'm a fan of music. I don't think that I like aggressive music.
Oh yeah, me too.
Juggalo stuff. I don't think, I like that stuff. I'm talking to mostly just to clarify about, I believe there's secret society elements partaking in rituals on a massive scale. And that goes for underground rappers all the way up to mainstream rappers. And you can just see this through the symbolism and whatnot. But the beats, I love the Memphis beats, Juicy J's beats and whatever.
Juicy J Volume 9 is one of the sickest ever. But yeah, man, I was just clarifying if you thought that, those 3 members dying may have been part of some kind of ritual, because the 3 members still alive are.
There was a date ritual. So I know that Lord Infamous, I believe, passed away on November 17th, which would have been 3/22 in another country. So
right.
I still think that those dates are important. That's the day the Illuminati founder died. But also you got young Dolph, who died on that day as well, who released the Illuminati paper route. And he's Memphis as well. So there's this connection to that date for sure, November 18th, but they died on November 17th. But like I said,
yeah, dude. No, but there was a hiatus there where they weren't 3-6 Mafia anymore. They were the Mafia 6, or they came back as the Mafia 6. And it's like right after they came back, they did a tour. I'm pretty sure they toured with Lord Infamous's corpse in their tour.
Well, I went to that. I met DJ Paul.
Dude.
The Mafia 6 is just missing Juicy J, right? Juicy J's not in it because he got
He was in Taylor Gang with Wiz Khalifa and all them. Yeah.
He got promoted through Miley Cyrus and whatnot.
How'd he really get promoted though, Doenut? I think we know how he really got promoted.
There's no way they went on tour with a cadaver.
So I don't know if the
cadaver
was there, but I was at the show and
I heard, man. That's all I heard.
His coffin was there. I don't know what was in it, and then they did this long ritual.
I could see that. I mean, yeah, how much would it be to go and buy a coffin and bring it on tour with you and say that like Lord Infamous is in there?
I have a RIP Lord Infamous hoodie. I should have worn it. It's just super hot out here.
I went to that show and I was filming for the opening act, and DJ Paul was like, "Yo, this dude ain't with us. He's filming P. He's not with." He made a joke. He made fun of me, and then he walked off. He dissed me and Leila, but I'm a big fan of his, so I was just so happy that I got the talk.
Yeah, man. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you wanted to pull it up. When Yo Gotti was 13, he rapped with the Frazier Clique as Lil Yo.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Frazier Boy.
No, not with Frazier Boy. DJ Sound and the Frazier Clique. Here, I will pull up the cover of his mixtape called Ridgecrest. Let's see. And there was a lot of rappers that were in this group. Some that have died. But when you pull it up, let me see if I can share this.
What's the name of the group?
Frazier Clique.
Frazier Clique?
Yeah, Frazier Clique. DJ Sound and the Frazier Clique. There's here. I'll show you all a couple of these albums. So yeah, this is the cover of his album when you look it up. This is Ridgecrest. It's like 8 songs, but I mean, you can tell he's a kid in it. Like, he's a kid. And I'm sure if there's anybody in the chat right now who's from Memphis, they know about this shit. And it's like, I mean, he was good for his age, but man, no, I don't think any 13-year-old should be rapping about things he was rapping about. Same with Lil Jen from 3-6 Mafia.
I got to shout out to Shaheem here. Shaheem did it right when he was like 13.
Yeah, I got to shout out to Lil Wayne, Lil Weezy.
Lil Wayne did it right too. Lil Wayne didn't cuss until after his father died.
That's not really rap, but like, yeah, it's not many kids that can pull it off and just not be like an annoying like Kid Bop edition or something.
Lil Wayne's lyrics were more gangster than everybody on Cash Money, pretty much. But he didn't curse once, and he was like 11. But there's a connection to Lil Wayne with the lean. He promoted the lean just as much, and they told him
confused. Nah, he wasn't in 3-6 Mafia. He was in Frazier Clique with DJ Sound. See,
hold on. Lil Wayne to he needed to get help, and he's like, "No, I don't need help. I'm promoting this."
Yo Gotti. Isn't it? I mean, that's Yo Gotti. There was somebody in the chat saying that Gotti. But I think they may have thought I said he was in 3-6 Mafia. No, but that's him right there. You know, that's Lil Yo. That, I guess he got a little older, but dude, I mean, here, let me pull up the actual. This is the original like cassette tape cover. Youngsters on a Come Up. That was that album. But also, yeah, man. I mean, there's tons of stuff. And when we do our sound science, we'll actually listen to it. But because I don't want to have to pull up that right now and the videos and everything, but I'm sure you'll get a kick out of that.
Man. It's not like just off.
It really is. We had planned on doing the sound science tonight, but Thomas had to remind me, like, yeah, man, we gotta because I had started making the art for it and everything. But yeah, man, no, there's definitely a lot that we could talk about. There was that interview with Crunchy Black on Vlad TV. I'm sure you covered that, Doenut, where he talks about meeting the devil. He's drunk as shit during the interview. So, you know, he's really seems like he's spilling the beans maybe a little too much.
Well, I got another theory that I think we should just chew on a little bit, and it's because part of the part that I struggle with this is that does that mean that every single rapper that's ever died, it's always been some sort of secret society ritual sacrifice, and that it's impossible for a rapper to die and it not be that, which obviously can't be the case, right? Because things happen, like things that are not related to secret societies, I think happen. Like it's not just Skull and Bones out here murking
For sure.
rappers.
Yeah,
But
no, not just when it gets.
but I think the inverse of that could be, well, if you know that a rapper is going to die, or if you know that rappers statistically are going to die, and you need sacrificial lambs that have some sort of like energy or status or some kind of capital behind it, like if you know that, then why not set up an industry and like put yourself in the position where you can control some of these rappers, start a label, get them all working under you, and now all of a sudden you can, in a very practical way, you don't have to like put on a hood and get a ceremonial dagger or anything. You could just sign them to your label and put their energy on a material item or out on Spotify. And then when it pops off and something horrible happens, like those records surge. Like that's literally you like channeling their energy. It's a sacrifice that results in higher energy, and that energy gets transferred into money. And then that's kind of like the whole equation now. This is the 2024 version, because we're not in BC times anymore, where we have to do like straight up animal ritual and think that the blood magic works.
Is there some name for the energy being transferred into money, or would that just be some form of alchemy?
I mean, to shout out Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars again, man, they sort of, the same way Jordan Maxwell said, like everything is currency, like everything is energy, including money, including
the currency,
including everything. Yeah. Every single thing is basically some kind of a current of energy, and it's really just up to, do you have the converter? Do you have the transistor, the capacitor? Like, can you actually control the flow of that energy? And if you own a record label, then yeah, you can control the flow of Prodigy choking on an egg. Like there's someone made a buck off that, guaranteed.
Yeah, dude. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. There's a bunch of activity going on in there.
Well, you're talking about transistor. If you think about 311, the band, if you pull up the
I got
yeah.
I don't want to get the copyright, so I just got
So I'm just talking about transistor. I think 311, because I remember this was the big thing that it meant KKK. That was like in all the elementary schools, that's what everyone was saying, because it's the 11th letter and 11 letters. So like right there, you get this lore of the music industry having secret symbols and whatnot. And then they, for some reason, their next album, they all decided to shave their heads. So it's just like, are they trolling or whatever? But then I just saw them on Little Tiny Desk concert, and they looked like anything from that. But yeah, but I think they were set up to be Blink 182, but Blink 182 won it. So there was like, who's gonna be able to release the alien information? Because now we got Scientology, government officials all working for this resetting the autonomic nervous system, but not with hip hop, but with rock. And 311 is a great liminal type band of hip hop and rock.
For sure, dude. And I haven't listened to 311 since I was younger, honestly. Big fan of Sublime though. Old school Sublime, like their early dub stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of sound science episode would 311 fit into?
Well, if you look at 311's like posters, concert posters, it was all alien poster like symbolism. When they were going on tour. Of course, none of it pops up when I pull it up, but
thank you, Tiffany. Oh yeah, of course not. Yeah.
I also like to connect Dark Lotus, because ICP did the song with 3-6 Mafia, which went super hard. What
was that song called? It was on When the Smoke
Just Another
Clears.
Crazy Click.
It was on When the Smoke Clears, right?
Just Another Crazy Click.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just another crazy clique doing whatever. Then the round. And then the Gangsta Boo's on it. And she's like, I took a Xanax. I like to split. You remember that one? Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
man. I just love how you reiterated that. That was awesome.
Monoxide Twisted did a good job on that song. And Violent J, he had the most legendary line where he's all like, F y'all, I stab bees with a chainsaw. Like, who talks about stabbing someone with a chainsaw? Like, at that time, it was super crazy. But
it's very inefficient.
Dark Lotus was released not too long after When the Smoke Clears, around sort of the same era, I would say, a little later, I think. But Dark Lotus was different than the Psychopathic Riders, which was more of the element of this just another crazy clique. But Dark Lotus is quite interesting because when you listen to the different interviews of, let's say, Crunchy Black, and he's coming out after he was shot multiple times in an assassination attempt on his life. He must have been shot like 6 times or something, in a wheelchair and whatnot. He came out and talked about him and Lord Infamous were just such great homies, but they were doing satanic stuff. And he said it was nothing like the Lil Nas X stuff, this little cute stuff. He says it was wicked. It was like
I know.
Stuff. And then you get the same kind of interviews with Mars, who was part of Dark Lotus, who got kicked out of Dark Lotus. Why did he get kicked out of Dark Lotus? You got to ask. But in his interviews, he said that he was bringing Golden Dawn magic into the album. He was putting because he was part of the Order of the Golden Dawn, I guess, which Samuel Mathers, Eminem's grandfather, could have been one of the creators of the Golden Dawn. So this goes into that whole Aleister Crowley of the 2 different occult societies.
Wait.
And I'm a little kid in the 5th grade, 6th grade listening to this. I have no idea that this stuff's going on. But this is the esoteric element and not the exoteric. So I'm a 6th grader, a 5th grader. I won't know exoterically that these are old stories being retold through Eminem and ICP in a sense. And that's what he said. He said, we put that Golden Dawn magic into it. Now, the album, when you read it, it tells you to do a ritual to look in a mirror and call upon someone. So there's like a lot of crazy stuff that I've been looking into deeply. I'm probably the most qualified to talk about ICP and Juggalo stuff.
I love hearing you just talk about it, man. That's
Dr.
why,
Doenut, PhD.
Dude.
I'm going to message them again. I message them every single year and want to go to the gathering to interview them. I message them every year. I've done video work for Fagel Lovers where we actually interviewed Violent J. So I got to meet Violent J, and what a sweet man that guy is, and a big hero of mine and whatnot. And I said I would like to know about the Illuminati connections to ICP, if there is any. Shaggy 2 Dope, for example, the second singer of ICP, released an album called Illuminati Don't Want Me. And then right after he released that, he was in a car accident, which was almost fatal. So there's a lot of strange stuff that they should allow me to come up there, because I'm not coming at a dissing element. I'm coming at a purely fascinated, interested element. So hopefully they let me do that one day. That'll be sick.
I mean, can't we just make you a fake press pass and just make sure that you just get in there?
The thing is that I would like the approval. Mm-hmm. I could do that. I could just go to it and do it on my own.
I mean, better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Isn't that how it goes?
Well, because I would like to get interviews with people and just stuff like that.
Sorry, I'm trying to put my computer on Do Not Disturb. I'm on my newer laptop, and so my wife's phone is on it. There we go. All right. Yeah, man. Growing up, I was never really a big fan of ICP. I I didn't really know
Dude,
anybody.
Get this guy out of here, bro.
Look,
We don't need
look,
to hear
no.
any more of this.
It
I
wasn't
have
until
never met one person who has been a fan, so that's
Okay.
nothing new.
I heard Great Malenko first, and I worked backwards from there, but I liked it.
I listened to them when I was a kid, but I kind of wasn't into that kind of rap. As I got older, as I got more and more into Memphis rap, I respected them a whole lot for the music that they make, and I still do. And I've never met a juggalo. Well, I don't know, man. There's some guys from here in Mississippi that were, I don't know. They weren't the.
No. I would say like
I don't want to be
80% of them are whack. Like, you know what I mean? And
you give them a good name, dude. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of them that are a lot like you and are real friendly.
Yeah, I had a personal relationship like with the music. I wasn't joining the group. You know what I mean? The group doesn't like me. The group would not like me in a sense because I am anti debauchery.
I understand. Yeah, no, man.
But not always. I haven't always been. But no. Like, there's some whack. I call them jug of hose.
Well, dude, I feel you becoming a part of a group probably when you were real young because you didn't fit in elsewhere, or that's what I grew up in as being in the hardcore scene and whatnot. So I understand that embrace of a friend group and a certain culture, and regardless of what it was, it made us who we are today. So probably wouldn't be here if we didn't participate in some of the debauchery as we did when we were teenagers.
What I mean by the debauchery is that when I went to the gathering where Waka Flocka was at, and Waka Flocka is a great element of power I could speak on, but I went there and I was sober. So when people were asking me to do different types of drugs, I said no. I said F that. And so I was looked at as, oh, what are you, a cop or something? And it's
Reagan over here.
Yeah, and so that's why another thing in the email I send them every year is that I want to go into the Grateful Dead elements. Is this a testing ground for sort of different thing? Because a lot of things that ICP was doing was very ahead of its time. And fat shaming and whatnot like that. That was what they were all about for ever. And now we can see that kind of going into the mainstream world. And so stuff like that. But also, why did President Obama label every person who likes their music a gang member? So you got to ask questions like that. And then at their march, where they were marching to end the FBI's investigation of labeling anyone who likes a certain music as a gang member, which means that if I want to join the military, I probably couldn't if I like their music. So just certain things like that, which is absolutely insane. But those protests that they went on, their march, it was infiltrated by a bunch of George Soros Antifa. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this stuff through a geopolitical, social engineering lens that most people aren't looking into. And I don't even think they're looking into it. But you look at it.
Does ICP have any songs about eating bugs? It sounds like they might.
They got a song about bugs on their nugs.
So they're smoking bugs?
No, phenomena. I can't even say the words because I don't like the class.
It's okay. Yeah, man.
I'm like, what? Yeah, you can't. You can't even sing their song without cursing.
Yeah. Like I said, I grew up listening to real raw music, man. So it doesn't bother me. Well, it didn't bother me as much as it does now that I have both a son and a daughter. So,
well, my mom took me to my first ICP concert, and she introduced me into art, into the Beatles, into the Doors, and into the stuff. And I don't think it did anything wrong with my creativity. Being introduced to Picasso's and different art, Clockwork Orange and whatnot at a very young age.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And so like I like art and I like honesty in the art as well. So like I'm not like against it at all.
We need more honesty in the art, man. Definitely, dude.
Did you
But
see?
no, you're good. You're good. Talk.
Oh no, they had a beef with Kid Rock. And they were just talking. So there's a lot of weird stuff in different communities of states. So we're talking about Memphis, but even in Detroit, to just different locations, to Texas and whatnot, or California, with the Laurel Canyon.
Sorry, guys. I don't know. I turned my do not disturb on, and somehow
you're still getting disturbed.
You know, stop. Jesus. No, man. It's my son is somehow hooked up to this somehow, or not this laptop, but to the Wi-Fi. I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. This is my first time to use this laptop. I'm usually on mine, but
oh, it's all good. It's
all
time
to be alive, bro.
Well, someone was in the chat saying something. So sorry, guys. And then someone mentioned that something about California being controlled by Satan. It's like, well, yeah, that's why it's called the City of Angels, but fallen angels. You know?
Well, that Thomas Edison shot the first movie in Hollywood about Satan. It was actually Faust and Marguerite, I believe, but that was one of the very first Hollywood productions ever by Thomas Edison, and it was about Satan. So like the link between bringing and invoking Satan in Hollywood and on cinema goes back to the founding of cinema itself.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'll bring up I got some slides I could also bring up. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Right here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through. I don't know what's in the slides, so maybe we could take it down for a second. Just because I got multiple slides. And
what'd you have pulled up right here?
That's just the Luxor.
The Luxor.
Something I'm looking at. You got the X right in the middle of the logo. So I think that there could be a ritual. There's always, I mean, this is where Tupac was staying at before he was assassinated. But yeah, the music industry is, maybe I'll pull up this one too. Let me see what's on here. Yeah, there's a couple.
Which one do you want me to pull up?
Yeah, you can pull up the first one, slide 1.
Right here.
Yeah, so Tupac, right there, 7-day theory. He was shot, and it was a 7-day process of his death. So sort of like predictive programming. And it's Machiavelli. Machiavelli's all about power, right? That's the philosophy of power, Machiavelli. And it's called the Don Illuminati. I mean, Illuminati, there's no more bigger power structure that we know of in hip hop than Illuminati, in a sense. And this goes back to Beethoven was trained by Illuminati members for it, just for people who think that this is just not history and whatnot. But Waka Flocka Flame, he performed at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and he had a beef with Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang Clan beefed with Waka Flocka.
What? I don't know that.
And it pretty much crushed him.
Either.
And then but then this is the thing, that Wu-Tang, Method Man and Redman, I know Redman's not part of Wu-Tang, but it's still under the same umbrella in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
He's a fan.
They performed at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and they were pretty much like had a beef with ICP because people were throwing stuff at them, and they were really sad about that. So then Waka Flocka goes on stage at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and people are booing him and throwing stuff at him. But Waka Flocka did a great power move that Method Man and Redman did not do. Waka Flocka jumped into the crowd and started mosh pitting with the
Oh shit, dude.
And then you could see it, bro. Here, I'm gonna pull it up, but keep this on. So I'm gonna look for it.
Okay.
But you can
I got
see the energetic powers of power dynamics in play here. Waka Flocka gathering. One second before you pull it up, I want to find it
man.
first
It's all good.
because it's a great. Okay, you can pull it up.
Okay.
The screen. So
There you
I'll make it bigger. But so Waka Flocka is performing, and people are throwing stuff at him right here. People are like, "Oh, F this guy." People are kind of even booing too because he's mainstream. This is MTV Gucci Man mainstream, and look, people are throwing. He's not getting a good reaction to the crowd. Even the cameraman doesn't want to film the crowd because they're kind of like, "Oh, this is bad. This is not looking good," right? But the power dynamics change right here when he jumps into the crowd. And this is something that Redman and Method Man did not do. But you'll see the power dynamics change. So this is a hostile crowd towards him because he is mainstream. But then he totally switches those power dynamics when he becomes like one with them in a sense. And I think this is pretty cool. So they don't like him right now, but then he goes into the crowd and he switches the whole crowd and made them super duper excited. And
Hell yeah.
And then the crowd loved him so much that he came back and performed on the main stage. So this is a little stage, but he came back and performed on the main stage, which is a big honor in the Juggalo community to perform on the main stage. And he did, and I was there for it, and then I got a mosh pit with him during.
Are you in this video?
No. This was when that power dynamic shifted.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's boring for
man.
the audience.
Not at all,
No,
bro.
dude.
I'm just thinking of like the Gustave Le Bon book, The Crowd from like the 1800s, but it's like this is the same exact dynamics playing out at a freaking Juggalo concert, which is wild to see, man.
Yeah, it is the crowd. It is that's exactly what it is, because the audience, that entire audience, isn't a single individual mind. That's a hive mind.
Well,
Like,
and he's also appealing to the best way to appeal to that would just be like raw physical energy.
That energy of the crowd mixed with his, dude, it starts up, and it's the same thing like I was saying with hardcore shows or punk shows, same type of energy.
Well, that's honestly, I mean, some people, I guess backpackers out there wouldn't want to hear this if the backpackers even exist, but that's kind of why conscious rap, I think at a certain level, would never be able to win out over gangsta rap. Never in a million years. And it didn't take the BET, Black Illuminati in order to do that. I don't think the hip hop Illuminati would have to do it. It's just like Gustave Le Bon's formula for the crowd. If you appeal to like the most base instincts, it just appeals to more people, especially once you get like 3 people together, 5 people. If you get 500 people together or more, like forget it. It's all going to be about emotion, and none of it's going to be about logic or reason.
Mass consciousness.
So it's a noble cause to try and make, like ration yourself out the same way with like a presidential debate, right? That's why you're never going to get, even if you got the best moderator in the world, you're never going to get like an actual coherent, deep conversation, because it's being appealed to like the masses, and the masses want to just hear, like a rap battle, like a rap beef.
I got this other clip I can show too of the crowd psychology and the movement and the power of not the leader, the guy who starts it. So here's a guy dancing, and it's just one guy. So the power isn't the one guy dancing. It's when the second person joins him. So once the second person joins him,
chain reaction.
It's a chain reaction, and that's how a movement is started, which you will see happen here in a second. How a movement starts not from the first person, but it's when like the second person joins, then it starts the pickup steam. And I think this video is pretty dope. You see all the like people just staring at them. Most people in society are spectators too. I should have fast forwarded a little bit, but it gets better. Right,
You're good, bro. No, let it play.
Right here, the next guy comes in. But at the end of this, they started a whole entire movement.
There's number 3, 4, 5. Oh shit! Well, it's just a bunch of dudes right now. Is that? Oh, there's some girls. All right. Oh yeah. Now it's a party.
How much of this is just like the same kind of base psychology though? It's because it reminds me a little bit of those videos where they'll get into an elevator and like everyone in the elevator except the person getting on are all facing like the wrong way or something, which is like it's not like so weird that you're like, well, I'm not getting in there, but it's like off-putting. And then usually people will just conform. They'll just also face the other way because they don't want to like not be part of whatever's going on. So once you see this thing hit critical mass, it's like some people aren't even, I feel like they just automatically, their just body is just making them get up and join this thing because it's like an overwhelming need to be part of this group. And I don't even think they're making conscious decisions at a certain point.
Damn, dude, the whole Knoll got up to go hang out with them.
It's the crowd. It's the crowd. It's the dancing mania, right? Where people would dance until people would die. They would just dance and dance until they died. You know, it's this group psychology. It's not the individual. It's the collective crowd, like agreeing with the movement. But I think this video is pretty dope. I mean,
no, it is awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah. But I like,
there's like someone getting trampled in the middle of all that. It's like a fish concert, and they're all like loving it.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's like fucking fishing widespread panic concerts. Someone died here at a panic concert. They got like trampled up against the front barrier and just crushed, dude. Probably some little short sorority chick.
I've seen some pretty nasty mosh pits in my day, man. Like it's wild. Like I remember seeing a child get crushed in a mosh pit at a punk concert.
Oh man.
And it was weird because there was like this calm as everyone was waiting for the actual show to start. And I like vividly remember right as it wasn't even like it was like a NoFX concert. It was kind of like pop punk. But as soon as he went and hit that first guitar chord, everybody in front of the stage immediately turned into like a mosh, but you could almost see like the Red Sea parting, and like, you know, Fat Mike was like Moses or something, like spreading this because there was a huge gap, and then all of a sudden, just like the waves that like they came crashing back in, and there was like a 13-year-old kid right in the middle, like right where it came together.
Well, they do a fucking wall of death.
They just like, I don't know, like evaporated, bro. They like vaporized.
You know what the wall of death is when they all stand on each side and they just like wait till the music starts, and then they just fucking, whenever the singer says go, they just run and just collide. And it's if you're at a big show, it's kind of terrifying. They used to be real notorious at Lamb of God shows back when I was a teenager. But yeah.
Was it called a wall of death?
Yeah, wall of death.
That was exactly what it was, man.
Yeah, I've been to the NoFX show. I've been to that. It's been 15 years.
This was, man, what was it? This was Heavy Petting Zoo. This was right when they released that, because I remember part of the show was that they were all banging these little inflatable sheep and throwing them out into the crowd.
Oi, oi.
Oh man, memories, good days. Doenut, what's this you got right here, man? This slide.
This is just the 9, right? The 9 is the completion number. So John Lennon was obsessed with the number 9. All you need, how's it go? All we are saying is give peace a chance. 9, like everything surrounded him was through this number. It's a completion number. And the Beatles completing the hippie movement with Helter Skelter, Charles Manson's Slangs, was their 9th album, I believe, the White Album. And you can even see this today with Takeoff of the Migos, track 9. the completion number 9. Track 9 is called 230, and that's when his life was completed, and he was assassinated at 2:30.
Shit, man. What? Like 2:30 in the morning?
2:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh shit, dude.
That's like a completion number.
That's too early to be dying.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, and he died at a bowling alley. So I believe that the bowling alley is esoteric. You see this in the Big Lebowski as well, how esoteric bowling can be.
Right.
Back to the Tetra kits. So it's
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know, these are old slides.
No, dude, you're good. You can go through them.
Yeah, that's about it for those.
Oh, you had this one right here. This other one you want me to pull up?
Sure.
Yeah, man. What's this
Yeah,
about?
I don't really know what's in them. I have all these different slides down here.
Well, right here, dude, we have the holidays, the pagan holidays. And I mean, everyone knows May 1st, Beltane, that's when the Illuminati was started. You know? 1776. I have a chart of these where I have a lot of other deeper meanings too. Of course, it's not out here right now.
Yeah, so I don't know what I got in these slides.
Go back to that slide about the months. Yeah. No, back one more. Over. That one. So what's up with these ember months?
Yeah, I learned this from Tommy Truthful, and he says that
Shout out Tommy.
He says the ember months are about dismemberment. Ember.
Okay.
I mean, I think pretty much every secret society has
Look out for
sacrificed
dismemberment.
somebody in one of the months, so they're like all dismember months.
For sure. Yeah, so
Does that remind me? I don't know if you guys ever seen the City of Ember. Have you seen this before?
Oh
man, so City of Ember was it was kind of like a sleeper hit, I think. Not a lot of people checked it out. It was kind of like a young adult novel, but the whole thing is kind of a retelling of Plato's cave allegory, where these two kids realize that they've been forced to live underground in like this like cavern system, and they were told that this is like the whole world, it's all there is, and they basically discover that there's actually a world outside this dome, and they're trying to like convince people that there's a world outside the world. It's wild. It's got a lot of really good occult connotations to it. Not a lot of people have seen it.
I want to see that. You have to remind me what it's called, because I'll
City of
probably
Ember.
forget. City of Ember. Okay. My wife's watching. Olivia, City of Ember. Type it in.
And I got like 200 people in the Rumble. Please smash that like button.
Hey, guys.
Much appreciate it. I'm not in the Rumble algorithm, and I'm streaming on Facebook, and I'm not in the Facebook algorithm. They've sent me a message. So I have a backup Facebook now that I'm going to be posting on. So if you're on Facebook, go subscribe there, please.
What's this donut?
This is Princess Prison programming. So I think to tie in all of this into more of a out of the woo-woo-y aspect of things, on how things shape the simulacrum, shape our daily lives, is to maybe go back to these certain things that we were watching on our phones, right? Like you see Rick Ross on his phone and he lives this enchanted life, but we're very disenchanted because of the Faustian bargain Western man has taken. Spangler talked about it, and Henry Kissinger wrote a whole master thesis on this. And that's what I believe we're going into with all of these red pill people moving into religions and whatnot. And if you're not into religion, that's okay. We're going to
I didn't even think about that donut. Wow.
Yes.
The whole red and black, and that's alchemical, like super alchemical. Because you see, these are all phoenixes, aren't they? That are on them.
Oh, okay.
Are those phoenix emblems? Because in Freemasonry and in all esoteric mystery schools, the eagle is usually a representation of the original phoenix. You know? Just
Well,
like
that's
some
Lady
initiates
Gaga.
are called phoenixes, just like some are called serpents. It depends on which school you're in.
Well, you can
But
see the Lady Gaga is wearing the same thing as the Hunger Games during Biden's election. So there's a musical
right.
element to power dynamics and whatnot. These are old slides, so I don't know what's in here. But we get these posters or memes today, and these memes are these little thoughts. They're not even a thought in a sense. They're so dumbed down to the most simple thing. So we don't have to think, but it will nudge us and lead us into a vote. Build back better. Like we can do it. Like the imagery and the symbols push people because people don't want to think. They just want to say and
They just want to follow. Yeah.
Yeah. I see this thing with the everybody blaming BLP kosher for everything. It's just
I saw your shirt. Yeah, I saw your shirt, man. What do you have to say about that?
I was just trying to work around the algorithms, but just people blame certain groups for things, and it's not as simple as that. People blame the Illuminati for things. Like I all talk about is Illuminati, but we gotta understand this is way more ancient than Illuminati.
Right. Illuminati goes back to Babylon. Yeah, bro.
This is simply just an arm of way more ancient stuff. We're not going to hear the names. We hear about bloodlines and whatever. Those bloodlines, sure, they're powerful or whatever, but that's not actual who's in control. Like this is way deeper. We're not going to get to know the names. Even like Rothschild, we get that put into our forefront. But no, it goes even deeper than that. But it's simple. It's easy to have a meme, and because then you don't have to think. And just the whole world has changed from Homo sapiens to Homo economicus. Maybe you can see this with all about influencers and all that like stuff.
The flashy lifestyle.
Yeah, the whole Crowley thing. I don't know what I had on here. I these are old slides, but yeah, I didn't have.
Oh man, what's this right here? Disney princess list.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No. Leave that up. I'm interested in whatever you got, though.
This was part of my princess programming. Just how like all the different Disney films, the princess was in prison by a witch.
Yeah. On almost every single one.
Well, that the whole symbolism there is the old crone, like the old hag, because there's like this is some ancient like magical archetypes, but one of the archetypes is that you either the perpetual maiden, meaning that like you're always going to be a virgin, and there's almost like a strain that you could never even conceive. But then you've also got the post-menopausal old hag that can't ever have a kid, basically can never create life again. One of them is like an ever-giving source of life, the perpetual maiden. The other one is one that's past the prime, and that is this representative of this like alchemical arrangement. And that's usually why you see these witches and the evil stepmothers and the evil stepsisters, and they can't find a man, and like that's because they represent the complete absence of a life generative essence. It's not just reproduction. That's like the superficial exoteric version. The esoteric version is that like someone is without a soul, or someone that is without something that they see in another person. You can almost think of it as like an energy vampire. But those are essentially this old hag archetype, and that's where you get the old witch silhouette with like the crooked nose and like the crooked chin and all this stuff. It's supposed to essentially represent that. And if you look at every single Disney princess and witch combo that are heading off with each other, it's that exact dynamic. It's so old, it's so ancient.
Yeah, man. And I really didn't. It's crazy when you get older, and I guess it makes sense, but you don't notice all the symbolism in these Disney movies. I mean, especially when I watch your Disney occult. I mean, y'all dive real deep into a lot of things that I would have never even thought about.
Yeah, OCCULTDisney.com, shout out.
OCCULTDisney.com. Yeah, man. So ever since I've been able to recognize the symbolism, it's been fun to rewatch these movies with my kids, and I try not to ruin it for them. But,
I gotta go. I mean, it's funny because we notice these patterns organically as we go through and watch the movies. So I'm sure if we went back and started all over again and did like Occult Disney round 2 or something, we'd probably be picking out way more stuff in the earlier films, because some of the patterns, like they turn into jokes, but some of them are legit. Like the whole thing about Disney killing your parents or kidnapping you and separating you from your parents, or like that's not just a funny bit. Like that's actually part of the Disney formula, to the point where now we're just, all we got to do is keep track of the movies that don't have that pattern, and it's only like 4 or 5, and I can almost list them all off the top of my head.
yeah, dude. Yeah, like I was saying, I find the symbolism pretty fascinating, and it's put right out there. Let me see. But well, like when me and Juan were talking, we talked about how every Disney story is really just a grimoire, you know, of these ancient folk fairy tales or whatever. I mean, you can call them whatever you want to call them. They're, you know, the ones that were written by the Brothers Grimm, which attributes to them being called a grimoire. I should read more into that.
Well, I think Disney,
I find that stuff really interesting.
He was kind of repurposing this stuff. He was sort of like that alchemist of taking one energy and turning it into another one, to the point where when he worked on a movie with animators and writers and everyone, he would explicitly tell them not to read the source material, that they shouldn't try and figure out what the original story was all about, because he wasn't as interested in the original story as he was about using that as a template for the story that he wanted to tell, which usually didn't have anything to do with the story that it came with, which is like interesting, because just because you saw a Disney version of a Grimm's fairy tale, I don't think it was entirely about hiding the scary parts from kids and making it more like family friendly. I think that it was something specific Walt Disney himself was trying to convey through a lot of these movies, and he set the momentum to where, like, if you're adapting something, just use the character names, just use the aesthetics, and then tell whatever story you want and just kind of like use it as your guide, which is a weird way to tell stories, because now the Disney versions of stories that otherwise lasted for centuries, right? Yeah. Within like a few decades, Disney now owns those stories, sometimes in very literal ways. But like, if someone told you, you know, tell me about Beauty and the Beast, a lot of people are probably going to have a Disney version of that and not one of the original versions.
Yeah, that story's always really bothered me though, because of the whole bestiality factor.
Well, see, you can take the bestiality factor out though, because the whole story was even worse than that. It was about marrying your 14-year-old off to some 40-year-old guy because you wanted to inherit his land. That was literally how things worked back then.
Yeah, so there's that aspect.
The whole story of Beauty and the Beast was like, hey, we're going to send you away to live with this big hairy monster, which was essentially a 40-year-old dude, and he's going to make you clean and cook and just be nice. Maybe he'll be nice. Deep down, there might be a prince in there. That was kind of
maybe he'll shapeshift back to his original form.
No, yeah, dude. That was the whole point, though. It was like, so your 14-year-old daughter doesn't feel so bad when you marry her off and don't see her again.
Yeah, and in a way, it was like he was stuck in his animalistic nature, you know, his lower nature of
he just
himself.
Wasn't shaving or bathing because he lived in a big castle by himself. He didn't need to do it for anybody.
Yeah, and he had every all his servants all around him to use as objects. So in a way, it was just like they were still his servants, still there serving him.
Well, I mean, that's exactly, because imagine you're a rich dude that lives by himself in a castle that just like waits for someone to wed their daughter to you because you've got so much land and power.
Right.
Then you just treat everyone like objects. So the people
Yeah.
that were serving Beast in the movie were literal objects, because that's kind of how the real dynamic worked between them.
And probably because he treated that witch who came and knocked on the door like shit. That's why she turned him into his lower nature, like a physical manifestation of his lower nature, probably. You know, find that pretty cool. Doenut, you there? I think he's
Yeah.
Hey, bud. I didn't know if you were still there or not.
I'm here.
Chan's running the show now, though.
I figured Chan was somewhere. He's probably just cuddling with Chan right now.
Yes.
Oh, shout out Chan. But yeah, guys, this was fun.
Another one in the books.
Enjoy getting together with. Well, it's been a long time coming for me and you, Doenut. You know, you were my second podcast, man. So
yeah, I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, dude.
Talk about the Juggalo stuff.
Yeah, man. No, we could always talk about whatever. And, you know, I'm excited for this sound science that we have coming, this Memphis sound science.
Shout out Olivia.
Yeah, that's my wife right there. Doenut, she was saying hi. Yeah, and thank you all for watching. But yeah, man, so I always like to talk to y'all. And I'm looking forward to talking to y'all about more things in the future. I wish I was better prepared for this one. I know we had planned, I'm sure it was just miscommunication, but we had planned on the sound science. I thought we did yesterday, but we realized shortly after I had scheduled it that there probably wasn't enough time to plan for it. So we kind of did this tonight to promote it. So that should be happening hopefully here in the next few weeks. Whenever you're free, Doenut, just let us know. But if you want to put y'all's plugs in, man, and anything that y'all got working on at the moment, y'all can go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just dropped a new video on my Patreon with Mr. Tunney, and it's really, really good. So go subscribe to my Patreon. You can find it at my website. That's right there, doe-net.com. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And I'll throw a plug. Go check out the Necro video Valley Intruder. And specifically go on YouTube and look for the official lyric video of Valley Intruder by Necro. That's pretty dope. Check at the very end. It'll flash some credits. So you got to pause the screen to see it. So pause the screen and take a look and see that. And then we got some other cool projects coming up, but I've got a big comic one that I might postpone it for a week or two, but it's at nasacomic.com, and it's something I've been working on for over 5 years now. It's about Stanley Kubrick directing the CIA moon landings for the Apollo missions. It's like 40 pages. It's like a hilarious. It was basically supposed to be like my love letter to Nicktoons. So it's got like some kind of like Ren and Stimpy art styles and comedy styles baked into this, but it's all about astronauts and Stanley Kubrick movies and all the like the hidden symbolism and all those. So if you like that kind of stuff, go and sign up at nasacomic.com.
Hell yeah, man. Y'all go to paranoidamerican.com as well, and buy all of Thomas's stuff, man. He's killing the game right now. And
that was the game. The game just drove by. I was like,
and he deserves all the recognition that's coming his way. You can find me on Instagram at Greypilledpodcast. I'm on X at Greypilledpod. I'm on Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble, just Greypilledpodcast, and I'm on Bitchute, Greypilled. Me and Thomas just did a sound science with my dad yesterday.
That was so cool, man.
It was awesome.
That was so awesome.
And it was on blues. My dad was a blues producer.
Well, no, dude, you're burying the lead here because you didn't even mention it when we went over it, but that like 3-6 Mafia was like in your pops like side studio.
Oh yeah, man.
Like it was
in
nuts.
The studio down the street that his friend owned. Yeah,
like
he has
your dad literally helped spread 3-6 Mafia throughout the nation.
In a way, yeah.
Not just in a way, dude, in a very practical, real way. Not like, oh, he, like a butterfly flapped its wings, chaos theory. Like he worked at the same record label that in part handled some of the distribution early days, like way early days for 3-6 Mafia. So I don't know, that's a huge deal, man.
Yeah, dude. Sorry, these comments. But yeah, so y'all go check out that sound science. And like I said, soon we'll have this one coming with Doenut. We have another one on punk rock that's going to be Cheney. I think Cheney and Gordy are going to be on it. So that's going to be fun. I'm doing a live stream with Oddfellows every week called Oddpilled. We're going to try to do it every week. We just did the first one last week on the Chateau d'Emeraude, the Mothers of Darkness castle that's in Belgium. It was fun. He had a ski mask on, so it was all good. Y'all go to oddfellowsbrand.com, buy some of his merch, support my boy Cody. Also, Organite.com, support my boy Isaac. And that's the state, Oregon-ite.com. Y'all go watch Reality Czars on all platforms. And y'all also go watch Schizo News Network that we do live every Saturday on the Reality Czars and the Greypilled X and Rumble. One more thing. I have another kind of series that me and my buddy Adrian West are doing called Pantheon Project, aka Elohim Etymology, where what Doenut was talking about earlier with the ancient aliens and the stuff on Gaia, we kind of take that. But Adrian wrote a book with this guy named Benson C. Saili from Botswana. So there's a lot more in that story than you'll find anywhere on TV or any channel. And we're really like breaking down all these deities that are mentioned in these ancient Sumerian texts and kind of linking them to who they were over the ages and how they were worshipped, who they were worshipped as, the story that got us to where we are today and who they're really worshipped as today. I know people think space is fake and gay, or they think that, that story's bullshit. Well, go read the creation story of any ancient culture. They all line up, all these deities, they line up in one way or another. If they weren't from space, they were from elsewhere in this realm. So we dive deep into that. We've done 4 episodes, one on Anu, one on Enlil, and 2 on Enki. We're doing another 2 on Enki because he's the main figure of that whole story, of that pantheon of gods. And yeah, y'all go buy Adrian's book on Amazon, Pantheon 1, The Golden Veins. He's an awesome guy and a great author and a great researcher. So, yeah. Anyway. All right, guys. Anything else y'all wanted to throw out there, man?
Quick correction. You just said that you can watch Reality Czars on all platforms, but it's all platforms but YouTube because we got ourselves kicked off of YouTube. More than
may or may not be my fault. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna play one of these Paranoid American outros and get us out of here.
Oh yeah! Happy Memorial Day! Remember, just go out and find the first veteran you see in public and kiss them right on the mouth. That's the true way to show your support of our veterans. Yeah, guys. Happy Memorial Day! Well, I mean, I don't want to say happy because happy. It's a celebration. Well, yeah. Some people aren't happy. I guess
I don't know. I guess it
You can't really fix that though.
can't fix that. Can't change everything. You can try, but all right, guys, y'all take it easy and have a great week, and we will see y'all later. Bye.
All American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. We got all your favorite conspiracies, all that and more on our sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret societies, all of these and more on our sticker sheets.
Explore the unique with Paranoid American sticker sheets. Unearth tales of cryptids, cults, and mysteries through each sticker. These won't last long. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.
We're all American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. We got all your favorite conspiracies, all of that and more on our sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret societies, all of these and more on our sticker sheets.
What the heck are you waiting for? Discover the extraordinary with Paranoid American sticker sheets. From cryptids in the night to cults out of sight, each sticker is a unique find. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.
Gather round, all you mystery seekers. We're diving deep into the dark, exploring realms beyond what's known, where the secrets of the shadows leave their mark. Come take a ride on the Greypilledpodcast Express, where esoteric knowledge is our guest. From conspiracies to cryptids, we unveil the veil. Mysticism and the occult, our forbidden tale. Join us on this